Hey, welcome to the very first art session movie commentary. Today's movie is The Crazies. It's the remake that was released in 2010, I believe. It's really one of my favorite kind of like a zombie movie. And what you're seeing right now is the fifth page or fourth page of Liquid Rock's fourth issue. I decided to use this so there can be kind of an official proof that I am working on this issue. I'm still working on with it on Illustrator, but I recently got a application called GIMP. It's a free digital painting software. I have some issues I have with GIMP, but it gets the job done. But I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it. But I know for Liquid Rock's fourth issue, at least I'll try to keep it within Illustrator. Then I might do the next page in GIMP to see how it goes, but I might just keep Illustrator because I think I like the quality a little bit more. So, the only thing that I really hate is the color mixing. It's really, really hard in Illustrator, but I don't know, I just find it's a bittersweet because it gets easy and it gets hard at the same time. It's easier in the sense of you kind of see the gradations of the tone you want, but the only it gets harder when you're trying to get the exact tone that's not exactly the same or whatever. But I don't know. I kind of like it because it still adds stuff to the image, and it kind of has a different kind of look. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Crazies now. Now, the one thing I love about the movie, the one thing I really do love about it is that it shows kind of everything before the outbreak, kind of leads the outbreak in a little bit, step by step, and I really love that. It's kind of what I always wanted to do in my zombie comics. When I had a zombie comic and all that in the past, I kind of wanted to do it with Liquid Rock as well back in the days, but um, I don't know. I guess it just didn't really fall through. I guess I could maybe do a flashback issue before everything went south. I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. Uh, what is right now? Now the characters I kind of like in this movie. I kind of like the character. They're really well done. I don't know. Like I really like the remake. The remake it kind of made me feel that this was the best kind of survival horror movie because it kind of gives the origin of as to where all these uh how these events happen. Like, oh, how did this virus spread? Because in most zombie movies, they just kind of happen. They don't really give them a reason. It's just like it's whatever the viewer wants. And here we kind of see, well, this was a government kind of project, and it got released and all that. It was really interesting. As you can see in this issue as well, I'm kind of going kind of a mix with the style from Bruce Timm. I kind of like that style that Bruce Timm uses. It's really interesting and really cool to play with. But I try to mix it in with my own style as well because I don't want to be too much like it. And here you see a guy walking in with a rifle. Now this guy kind of reminded me of Trevor, but I just love that this guy just happened to walk in with a rifle, and the cop's like, we'll just this whole thing happened, just drop the rifle and be on our way. But it's the first kind of instance where they kind of hint at the zombie, and I love that. I love that it's hinted. That it's not like, oh, look at all these people who are infected. It's one person, and it kind of makes it believable because that's really how germs and bacteria kind of spread. It's not um, something that's sudden. It always starts off with one, and then it moves on. Now, I like that they chose that he had to shoot him like in front of that crowd. That's really bad for for a cop to shoot someone in the middle. Now, I think these shots are interesting where they go into this geography kind of screening because again, like they hint at this at this thing that has nice tail sequence. It was just a black screen with the crazies. I don't know. It was a really. This is a really good movie. I remember seeing it with my parents, which again I thought it was weird that my parents wanted to see this movie, but it was really well done. I thought it was really interesting, and it was very quiet and it was subtle. It wasn't like loud music and all that crazy stuff. It was very subtle with all the things it wanted to do. Uh, so yeah, I really liked the movie. As you can already tell, I like a lot of ideas I had with Liquid Rock and the early stage of Liquid Rock came from this movie because again, like I loved the science within this movie that it was a scientific reason. It wasn't they didn't go well it could just be God or no or just went with a no answer type deal and I love that. I will say I'm really proud of this nose. More like this nose, I think is pretty good. I think there might be some things I need to fix, but I think it's really good. I'm proud of it. I think the jawline I think is bad. I really think it's bad. Um, but it's not the worst. I don't know. Like I think the jawline's a little too close to the ear. I think it needs to be a little bit longer. So I'm probably gonna go back into that to fix it. But again, easy. I'm also trying to have this head look down and that is hard to make, but I think I made the jaw too big. I don't know. There's issues I have to fix in this. I'm seeing a lot. Another good thing about these commentaries that I do, I love looking at. It gives me a nice sense of idea as to what I'm looking at, and it gives me another look at this, so I can have another idea as to what I'm doing wrong and what needs to be fixed. The tones I think are pretty good. I mean, there might be a few I might fix, but overall, I think they're fine. The nose, I think, I always have trouble with the nose and the brow ridge and how shadows work with and how shadow and light works on that. I always have an issue with that, but it works. Now, you're probably wondering how am I going to talk for an hour and 35 minutes. Uh, my ideal viewing for this would probably be watching it in increments. But I always wanted to do a movie commentary. It was just I didn't want it to be my first commentary because I think that'd be kind of alienating. But I think I've done enough of these, so I think it's nice to have some variety. I think my next commentary will probably be a TV show, not a full movie. Um, and I had to watch these in two different settings because I was losing my edge by the end of this part right here. I had to film it in two parts, and I was just losing my mind, so I had to take a break. Then I got back into it, and I think I was in a better spirits. Ear is pretty good. I like the ear on the right hand side. I guess would be the left of the character, but I like that ear a little bit more than the one on the left side of the screen. But yeah, I think at this point I'm getting better with tones and understanding the relationship a little bit better. It's still a growing process. You're never gonna be the best artist. I never think that. I always think I'm the worst. But I definitely think that I'm getting better. Definitely. See, I'm seeing that it's the same tone, and at first I think it was a glitch within Illustrator, but then I was like, well, I guess it's the same tone. Um, Now this I had to draw completely in Illustrator because I didn't know how to map a PDF file to the canvas or a JPEG file. I didn't know how to map it because I thought it would make the image smaller or something stupid. But now that I figured it out, I'm gonna keep this page, but I'm gonna get the actual page that I worked on and kind of make it work for this because I think got rid of some of the extra fluff in this page. I think there's a lot of other extra panels I had on the initial page and extra pages, so I think this cut down a little bit more. Um, and then also, like, someone told me that there's a few images that went by a little bit too fast, and for a comic, you can't really have things linger, especially for a comic that only has a 10-page act minimum. Like, I can't go more than 2 pages, so I can't really go too crazy. So I had to speed some stuff up, and now these soldiers, I think I said in another commentary before somewhere that the idea came from Metal Gear Acid, one of my favorite Metal Gear games that will never get a third release. Metal Gear Acid was really the first Metal Gear game I played, which is weird, but it was really well done, and I liked the soldier designs. And the first one, not the second one. The second one, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have to play that game again. But the first one had a really good soldier design. I really liked it. And again, I like that in the movie, there's subtle hint at the infection or whatever you want to call it. And it's so cool how it's such a quiet movie. It's just like it introduces this stuff like a little bit at a time. It doesn't throw it all at you at once like most zombie movies tend to do. This is a really good movie in my opinion. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. I'm not sure how the remake is. I haven't watched it. I'm probably gonna watch the remake at some point. I mean the original at some point, but the remake was really well done. I really liked it. I had to show all my friends because it was such a nice movie. Like I just love that like these subtle touches where you kind of know something is wrong, but you know it's not shown directly. Now we're seeing that the tractor was on. Now that's kind of disturbing. Like that it's on and there's no driver. And to me, what I like that this played against a lot of expectations. Like at this part of the movie, when you see this, you expect the thing to run her over. You're like, oh, she's gonna die. Oh, and that's something I liked about this movie is that there's no cheap tricks. There's no, it doesn't like, it doesn't do that as most zombie movies do. Most zombie movies would try to throw in a jump scare here, and there's no jump scare here. I love that. I mean, it's kind of it lets you feel the atmosphere and the tone and everything that these characters are feeling. So I think it does a better job at that than most zombie movies tend to do that they really want to work with. And it's believable. I mean, it's just so creepy. I love it. It's more of a creepy atmosphere than spooky. And the whole point is that it's supposed to make you feel unsettled. You're supposed to feel creeped out by this movie. And I think it does a really nice job of that. And the lighting is really well done. Like I like how dark it gets, and oh, it's so creepy. And I think I had another design of these in the issue, but I kind of changed the design in here because I thought that design needed a little more work, and uh, I worked on it here. I was kind of impressed with the. Should I get to it? When I get to it, but the helmet, I'm really impressed with how it turned out. I loved it. I really loved working on it, and again, this is this means learning a lot of stuff about tone because putting more thought into it. I was like, well, light like light just shines and darkness wraps around. I think. I mean, light also wraps around, but your body's covered in darkness and light is just kind of illuminating that. It's interesting to think about that, and the relationship between light and dark. And I get the whole idea, like when shows are like, well, darkness swallows soul, and I definitely see what they mean by that when I think about light and dark, because darkness does tend to engulf a body, you know, of an object. Like if you shine a light in a direction, the other side is completely engulfed in darkness, and that's pretty much food for thought. But helmets are really tricky when it comes to, especially something that has a reflective side. It's really tricky to get that like just right. to make it look reflecting. Because there is a logic to it, but I just find it to be very like no rhyme or reason as to how light works on a helmet. It seems like, but and again in this movie, back to the movie, I like going in between. It shows that this creepy scene where you just see these the guy's footprints, and you just know something's weird. He locks him into the oh, it's so creepy. It's nice that he lights the whole house on fire to burn up to kill his wife and kid. And instantly you're just like, something's wrong, something's off about this, and it's so well done. Like you get the actors they got to play it. I mean, they nailed the facial expression right. I mean, they should look disconnected from the world, and that's what they got. They nailed it. And you always figured you kind of see the face, but through the reflection. But I think that as I worked on it, you'll see I started getting rid of it because it just didn't look right because I drew the helmet without thinking about that. Um, but I think if I were to go back in and redraw it, I think I would probably draw the face first, then the helmet on top of it, so I could work on the tones better. But yeah, I think at the end, what you'll see is better. I mean, I think the helmet turned out really nice. And lots of pages came out nice. I mean, even the guy with the weird head, but it works because because since you're not gonna be zooming in on these guys' heads, you're not gonna notice it all the time. But another thing I love the it's such a nice scene. Like you see the house on fire, and this guy doesn't seem to care, and then he starts to whistle. Hello, so we're back. I had to take a little break. But yeah, I love the that scene where that guy was whistling after the house had burned down. It adds a lot to the creepy atmosphere. It's great, and another great scene. This guy's hunting and coming across a fallen airline. Uh, but yeah, I love the movie because it's such a quiet movie. It's not like loud music and there's not all these people talking and it's filmed nicely if you like so it's I highly recommend it. It's really one of the best horror movies I've seen. And it's a shame I have not seen another one that's like it, and I would love to see another movie like it. It's so good because it introduces this weird idea. I don't know, it's like they start giving me these little guesses, these little hints as to what's going on. And here you kind of see that I'm getting better with the helmet. I love the helmet. The helmet I spent the most time on. You're probably gonna see a lot of that. I think like they did such a good job with how creepy these crazy people are. Like he's just standing there, he's doing like weird behavior, and it's not like crazy as like ooh I'm loony, but it's crazy as this like whoa something messed up. No, as you see here, I'm working on a grayscale. I kind of like you working with grayscale because it's simple. It's a very easy color scheme to work with, and with color, because color you have to put in a lot more into consideration. Um, okay, so we're back. Sorry, I had to take another little tiny break. I had to figure some stuff out. This was just a phone call. I kind of just love how this cop is like, oh, yeah, he's just good at his job, believably. I mean, he's not like super cop or anything, but it's interesting. I love. Now this shot's really cool. This where the camera zooms up in the Crazies, and you see, and they're like right on top of the airplane that crashed. That is so eerie. And it goes back into that government satellite image, which again, like they don't really explain what that is or who's watching. It's just you're just assuming that's the government. And you're saying, as you see, I'm reworking the visor for this helmet, because there is something else I wanted to do with it. Well, I think it was just, the darker it is, the easier I could pull out the lights, and if I pull out the lights, it'll look better than going in reverse. Then, it's better to pull out the lights than, you know, to go from dark to light. That is really one of the things that my painting teacher was telling me a lot of is you should always go dark to light, and that is true to an extent. We usually, as you see a lot here, I go, all over the place. I go like from light to dark, and then dark to light, and it's weird. But if it's something that it's giving me a lot of trouble, I usually go dark to light. If it's something that I can't understand, or something that doesn't that it's just not clicking with me, I always go dark to light. Otherwise, I kind of go with my own little pace because like the helmet design, where I worked a lot on that lighter gray, or it's middle gray, I guess. And then I just put in some darks in later. That was a little bit easier because I can kind of understand where the darks would be, and I could think a little bit more about it. But if it's like the visor where I'm having trouble just figuring it out, I always go dark, then to light. Oh, no, no. Again, like what I really liked about this movie is just that again, like it gives you subtle clues, and these characters are just so good. Yeah, there's not a lot of shitty jump scares. I mean, there may be like a few bad jump scares in this movie, but they're not like over the top as so many other movies would go with. Oh, that's so weird. And I just like how things start to get weird. I mean, it keeps amping up to what it wants. And again, like that's really what I like is that it's a slow, quiet movie. It's not a movie that is like, okay, this happens, blah 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 blah. It's not like a roller coaster ride. It's very slow and it builds up and it pays off so well. Like that's the other thing that a lot of movies tend to not do is they don't they don't have a payoff, and this rewards the build up. It rewards you for sitting there and watching this, and I really like it because it sets the tone a lot better than most zombie movies, and this is what a lot of people I feel don't like about the most current George Romero movies, and I see that. I don't think he's doing as many movies in that because of how bad he got. Like, I mean, the last George Romero movie I saw was Survival of the Dead, and I liked it, but it wasn't like his other movies. But other than that, but most of it has to do with the overuse of zombies. But yeah, the other thing I loved about the Crazies was that the things weren't zombies. That is always something that people should always sit down and remind themselves that you're watching a movie that not these people aren't zombies. Now, like, okay, I mean, the headshot will still work, but you kill them any other, as any normal person. But it's not like there's zombies and it's great. And these subtle hints like that van that drove off was another hint at a government run organization. Well, I'm gonna take a little break here. I'll come back with the commentary later. So stay tuned. I'm gonna get something to eat because I am starving. Hey, we're back. Sorry, I just had to take a little break to get some food because you can't really do a good commentary on an empty stomach. That's a big mistake I realized too late. So we're back into the morgue where the cop is inspecting the morgue. Now this part was awesomely creepy. Like I loved it. Just seeing how they like stitched his eyelids shut and his mouth. I mean, it was so painful. I mean, you have one that's dead, but it's his eyes shut. The other one's alive, but his mouth is uh stitched shut. It was so creepy. It has like the perfect atmosphere. This was creepy. Like I just it was like, oh god, like it just made me think like, oh man, imagine if you had that happen to you. Oh, it's just the doctor's insane. It's perfect. Since I just ate, I have something like stuck in my tooth. Because when you got your wisdom teeth taken out and they didn't put any stitches, and I think a piece of food got stuck in the cavity, the socket, but I got it out. I hate it because you don't want to get like a dry socket that sucks, or pull the clot out, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Now, this was great. I just love that he's just like flailing the chainsaw around, just as if it's nothing. I mean, that is just so. Oh, then he causes himself to kill. That's the thing I like about this, that that the way that they kill the crazies. I mean, they're not like zombies where you have to kill them in the head to put them down because they still die like a normal human. Oh, this is scary. Like, oh, the saw is coming straight for his nuts, and yeah, he was like his friend came in. Again, this was such a good movie. I loved it. Here I'm just trying, and then back to this. You see them still coloring in his shirt. There's also some corrections I do make later on. Um, and again, like I just love how like you don't know what's going on, and no one knows the severity of it, but it's just like oh man, it's so good. And again, like this is it's an interesting movie. I highly recommend it. It's really one of the best horror movies or zombie or survival horror type movie. It's so good. It's really well done. It sets the atmosphere so well. Like it's I mean it really does makes me wish that there was more movies like this because I would definitely see it if there were a lot like this, but they're not. I mean it's again another thing I got from Bruce Timm's style is he makes the chest kind of square. I don't know, like it makes it easier for me to understand the body a little bit more when I think about the Justice League and like those styles. I mean, I like it a lot of that for reference because that kind of gives me a better idea of where the shoulder should go and how it works. Um, because it's a very line heavy type style, and I really like it because it sets it really far out there and it's really detailed. It's so simple, but it's so detailed at the same time, and that's something I really liked. I also love that they use school buses to transport people. I mean, that to me is uh, believable because I definitely believe that in a situation like this, they would use school buses, for such transportation and all that. But it's great. It's great. I love it. I love that. you're being thrown into, you're as confused as the characters, that you don't know what's going on, you don't know what this is, and they don't really explain what it is. They don't explain what's going on at all, and I love that. I mean, you they just let you kind of guess, and that's the thing. Like, this movie isn't really directed, doesn't really tell you. It's not really choreographed and typical. I mean, if anything, it's like 28 days later and 28 weeks later as well. It's kind of like that in no sense of how the government gets involved, and I really think that's so interesting. Here, there, I think they're scanning people, see if they're infected, and oh, I love that they show this scene because I mean, it's just you definitely feel sorry for these characters, and you just want answers, and they're not telling you, and so you definitely can tell, you know, how the infection works at this point because, you know, it's saying that they're checking for elevated temperatures, and if it's elevated, I think that means that you're heading towards, you're going to become infected. Now, you know, this leads up to another great scene. Oh, there's a lot of great scenes in this movie. This movie really surprised me with how much I liked it. When I saw it in theaters, I was just like, you know, I didn't know what to expect exactly, but then once I saw it, it was like, wow, this movie is really well done. And as part of that, as I said about the character design of the soldier, I said it was like, you know, inspired by the Acid series and a little bit of MGS3 and Peace Walker's Snake design, where he has folded up sleeves and he has that black thing on his arms. I don't know what it's called. Um, I like that kind of style. Uh, so kind of, you know, wanted to have characters, you know, to have something like that. And you know, in this movie, you know, as I do these commentaries, I usually watch the movie as I work, so I know how long I need to make it and all that stuff. So I have I have a perfect amount of footage. Otherwise, I don't want to have too much because then I don't know what to do with the rest. Um, so if you see some breaks, I might just be taking a break to watch the movie because again, like the movie is really well done. I really loved watching it. This movie I haven't seen in like 2 years, I think, and it was around that cusp where I would go back into a movie just because I don't remember a lot of it, and it was just right in that sweet spot. Uh, yeah, here I always take some clothes from other places that I've worked with because sometimes I might have gotten a tone just right. It's somewhere else, and I was like, well, you know, that tone could work right here. And again, since I'm having trouble understanding this particular part, I'm going all dark, maybe leaving some of the original color, because I'm just trying to find that perfect tone for it. You know, part of it is also the thing that I'm making all these things look exactly the same kind of tone, and here's like, well, you know, this thing should be darker than sleeves. So I kind of worked on that. Uh, Again, it was always interesting the illustration side of art because I kind of get an idea of it, and I think it's definitely a different type of style you get out of it as well, and I kind of like it because it's more freehand than in digital painting. You know, you can kind of just go right into it. It's really great. If you want like mix colors, get interesting kind of strokes and all that because you don't really get a painterly style. You get a very sleek design out of Illustrator and. As I was using this, I was just thinking, maybe I should just use Illustrator for everything because Illustrator is so, uh, it just makes the whole thing look a lot more polished than I got out of Photoshop. I mean, I would get like a lot of good stuff out of Photoshop as well. I loved Photoshop, but Illustrator isn't really that bad, and I think I wouldn't mind using it constantly. I mean, I can't think of it right now. I am blinking. Sorry, I got some pib with me. I went to Five Guys to get my lunch. That's a really good hamburger place. Five Guys hamburgers. I recommend it if you have it in your hometown. It's greasy hamburger stuff, but they make the hamburgers so good. And they have pib, so if you have pib, you instantly win. Here I'm erasing some of the crazy strokes because since I'm going in with this and not with a underdrawing, I usually do a lot of like rough outlines so I can kind of get where things go and where things work, and just which line I like the most, and then I go back in to get a sleeker design if none of the lines work. It adds a lot, but I definitely think it pays off. I was thinking there, saying these lines are a little too thick, and I was thinking about keeping them in because I was thinking, oh, it could be stylistic, and but part of me is just like that style works on some things, but not it shouldn't be everything. Everything shouldn't have to look like that. And, I love it. I still am trying to find the best kind of style, because I always had a style in mind I wanted to try, and I've been kind of introducing it in the Liquid Rock series, but I'm probably gonna keep expanding and changing and working on it. And I also keep the outline on a different layer because naturally, if you're gonna, the color stuff should be the underlayer, and then the outline should be on the toppest layer because that is giving you a boundary of what you can use, and it gives you a better idea of where things are going. Now, naturally, you don't see things outlined in real life, and a lot of I had an art professor telling me that you should never have outlines because you don't see that in the naked eye. But I kind of like using outlines. It kind of has its own style with it, and it kind of I don't know. I really like it because I don't really like super realism in comics or anything like that. That's what kind of turned me away from comics for a long time is how realistic they got. I love the abstract kind of artists. Like for example, Ashley Wood. He's another great artist. I recommend take out anything from him. You Google him, whatever. His artwork is really what style I kind of want to get to, but it's a hard style because you have to really understand balance and all that. But it was really good. I love his style and. Uh, Yeah. Now back to the movie. I like this scene where they strap all these people who got like alarmed or whatever. They strap them to a table so they can't move and escape. And I love that because you don't know what these people are doing there for, or what is the deal. And then you get welcome to something really creepy. And again, like this, there's no unsettling music that plays or like dun dun dun. Like there may be some background music to it, but it's not like dun 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 or anything like out of. That's just hey guys, feel this. Isn't it creepy? Here's some creepy music, and so you just have the ambience of that place, and then just hearing a pitchfork being dragged. I love it. It's so brilliant in how it sets the tone on how you should be feeling. It doesn't blatantly say feel creepy here. It just makes you feel what the characters are feeling. Like you're feeling what these characters see, and it's brilliant. I mean, these characters are strapped down; they can't really do anything, and then this crazy guy comes in with a pitchfork, and it's just like, what is gonna happen? Uh, like you just don't know what to expect. And then I was expecting this to be censored too, or like done in a different way because watching that scene was so hard to watch. When I was watching, I was like, oh god, like and they're all like strapped up, so it's like one by one, they're all gonna die the same way. Like I love it. I love the idea that these people are just getting crazy by this infection. I love that concept, and that's kind of where I came out with my again like this was another reference influence from for my comic book series. Like when I introduced like a vampire type monster in this. I don't know how to describe him, which I guess is bad, but I got the idea from this 3 Days a Night, a comic series called The Strain. I kind of did homage to all those things because I really liked that because I did feel like the zombie thing was overplayed. Uh, but again, yeah, by default, these the things that you're seeing are kind of like zombies. They're zombie-like and how they act and setting and all that. I guess, but that to me is just, it's fine. I think you could say that they act like zombies, so therefore it's still a zombie movie, and you can consider that, but um, as you can consider that though, but there's different rules that each things have. Like zombies, there's always a camp of believe like, oh, zombies are all super strong, zombies are slow, or zombies are fast. There's different types of zombies, etc., etc. But when you have like something like in the Crazies where they're not really zombies, they're not dead, they don't die then become these things. There's different kind of rules that they introduce, so that it kind of sets it apart from zombies. The only thing that I do think is kind of shitty is The Last of Us. That is to me a zombie game, because uh, the only thing that might be different is I don't think you die and then you become a clicker or anything like that, but it has the exact same kind of story where you're bit, you become a clicker or a fungus monster. But with this movie, it has the rules of any bacteria, virus. It's spread through those kind of means. It's not spread through bites and all that. I mean, yeah, you could spread through bite, but they're not biting people and then they're becoming it. It's all it's a disease. That's really what I liked about it. Is that it kind of sets itself apart from the typical mythos and rules of zombies. But some people, there's always that argument, and I do see it. So I would never say that people who think that way are dumb or they're wrong or anything. But that is something that I just think about is that zombies have different rules, and when you're having a survival horror show, like genre, you're gonna have to define different rules to differentiate them from zombies. Otherwise, they're just zombies. And this movie does a good job of that. It kind of has that difference. Again, I'm working on better lines. I'm fixing some issues I might have seen. Uh, Because that's another thing I do notice with the brush tool in Illustrator is that it tends to curve a lot, because it's trying to give it a sleek, straight, edge. So it's a neat line. So if you're going down like when you're going straight down, you can't. It's hard to draw a straight line. So Illustrator will just make a guesswork as to where the line's supposed to go, which is fine. It saves time. But at the same time, if you don't want it to be able to start curving, but it's never it's not that much of a hassle. And I'm adding more compartments to his belt because I realize well, if this guy's a soldier, he's gonna have a good harness. Uh, there I'm just trying to. I think I'm going back in there to do more colors. That's the thing, like I think a lot of people that I started realizing is you're having a zombie apocalypse. There's not going to be a lot of people with like government issued fashion. So I think that's something I'm going to start to pull back on in future issues. Just trying to give them more believable designs because with this, I mean, it's just like it works, but at the same time, it's like what kind of guy in an apocalyptic setting would wear this extravagant uniform? But I think it works regardless, but it's still kind of weird. But I think I'm just gonna switch it to some more believable and all that. Again, I find a darker tone, and like I think I have gotten a lot better with the dark with shading when it comes to this. Because before I would totally complicate shadows, and that still does kind of happen. It's really easy to overthink them, and um, it's something. Because there's always that constant balance you always have to get with shadows because you're thinking about too much or too little, and But I think the final product that you'll see, probably not the final product, but one of the things you'll see is that I think I start to really understand a little bit more of him. I mean, because like before there'd be probably a lot more tones. Ah, God, there's an itch, and it's a bit. I don't know. I love the. But this is a good movie. I really like the whole setting and everything, how far everything went from with this virus, and and you're just like, man, what could have caused this? And you just see all these crazy people. I mean, there's crazy. There's the crazies, and then there's the insane survival type people you'd see in any survival movie. But this is more interesting about it, though. I mean, again, because you don't know who to trust because everyone is insane. So it's awesome, and I love it because it's not like waves of zombies. Because that's another thing a lot of zombie movies do is that they try to have all these waves of hordes of zombies, and that's cool and all. I mean, it works when the setting's in a city, but I like I just saw I saw World War Z last year and it was good. I liked it, but man, it was one big market of like, oh look what we did with the computers. Look how many zombies we generated. It's like that's cool, but you know that to me kind of takes away from the movie. Like with this, you're growing with these characters, and you're not seeing waves of crazy people coming in. It's all separated, and it's so interesting. I love it. I mean, I could go in there's so much detail as to why this is such a great movie because I mean I don't think it's perfect by any means, but I just think it's for what it is one of the best. There's no other movie that kind of takes it for me. I mean, you feel an edge, and you're just like you don't know where these crazy people are. I mean, it's creepy that sets that spooky atmosphere up, and it's so creepy. I love how this movie operates in those kind of uh, rules. I mean, again, like because again, like when you're because here it's just like right now there's a confrontation between one of the cops and a guy with a sniper rifle. I think his name is Donnie. I can't, but and here it's like who do you believe? I mean, that guy may be crazy. The other guy might be crazy. You don't understand who's crazy, but it, it's just so interesting. I love it because it does make you think, who can you trust in a situation like this because, everyone is crazy, so, and you don't want to uh, hurt someone. This is such a good movie. It's really one of the best. I've seen these again, like, it's not hordes of zombies because like, they're running from these crazy people and the government. I mean, it's, that's what I like about this. There's more going on, but they show less. And yeah, that's what I think a lot of movies miss is that they just kind of focus on the monster way too much, and they show it doing all this kind of weird stuff, and it doesn't let the characters develop at all, and it doesn't really set the tone. It just kind of makes you say like, oh well, there's a lot of things there, and but when you see this, it's just like yeah, that there's a good amount of people being infected, but it's so good. I hope you understand what I was saying. It's like that's something I really like because like this movie it allows you to get in with these characters and they're not always being attacked or whatever. It's so nice. It's always on edge. It makes you on the edge of your seat like what's gonna happen. Uh, I was trying to figure out how that character died, and I knew there was when they found out that woman's son or something was like I thought that he was gonna stay alive and they killed him and then they burned his body. That is so oh god. And that's true. Like when there's something that's infection that it's a disease and bacteria and viral and all that, the best way to completely disintegrate get rid of it is to incinerate it because that kills all the bacteria that was there and all that. So the science in this movie really works. That's another thing. Like there's a lot of science in this movie, and that is something that's interesting because like, that's what you need in these kind of movies is science. You can't just say it's some magical mumbo jumbo or anything like that. And I like that again. Like they give you more clues as to what's going on. Like what is this? And I like that. I mean, again, like you see this humanity. Just I don't know. It's great. I love this. Like they give you small hints as to what's going on. That's another thing that I think a lot more movies should do is we have a mystery or something. You should give a little bit hints to the viewer because that is such a cool thing. Like it welcomes rewatching. And I mean, yeah, naturally, you do kind of get a better picture, halfway into the movie. But this just gives you so much clues. Like it's just like, okay, there's government people here. What's going on? Okay, so it's something to do with the government. Oh, these people are like, oh, don't take off your mask because you get infected or whatever. And then it's like, okay, so then it can be transmitted by air. Then it's an airborne disease. And I mean, but again, like the movie doesn't tell you every everything. Oh, no more Pib. It's sad when you run out of Pib. Pib is the best soda. And they use the music's in such a good part, like when oh, so good. You know, you get these somber kind of tones, and it's just you definitely feel it's a hopeless situation that these characters are in. And to me, this is what all zombie movies should aspire to, if anything. I mean, this was such a good movie. If it reminded me of like a lot of like the 28 days, 28 weeks later series I just said before. And those movies were really good. I hated 28 Days Later for the longest time because I thought it was a very slow movie, and I never understood why that movie gets such a better reception than 28 Weeks. I thought 28 Weeks Later was better. Everyone was like, oh, it's crap, it's garbage, and I don't think it is. I think 28 Weeks Later is really good because it's a fast paced kind of movie. I think that there was some stuff bad about it, like but it wasn't anything that was like, oh well, the movie sucks. It wasn't bad. Everyone was saying that it was bad, but I don't think it was. It was awful. I thought it was a good movie nonetheless. But everyone made it sound as if it was like a piece of shit. And it's like it's not a piece of shit. And like I keep forgetting that the main character's wife is pregnant, and I keep forgetting that in this movie. It's like, oh yeah, she's pregnant, and it's like that is something insane to think about. Like, imagine if you're raising a baby in that kind of situation. It's tough. Most people probably would want to abort the kid or something. But the other thing I like about this movie is that they never say, "Well, it's gonna," because like most zombie movies they always say like, "Oh, one day it's gonna blow over," and the government's gonna save the day, yeah, and all that stuff. And then this movie's like, nope. Oh, the world is done. We're nothing's coming back. Nothing's gonna go back to normal. We lost everything, and that's what I like about this movie is that it's all about loss. It's never about what that it takes out all the hope. Like every hope that you see in a zombie movie and so on just gets sucked right out. It's just like there is no hope. There's no saving the world. I mean, this thing is just gonna keep spreading out of control, and these characters kind of know that. It's not like uh, oh, this scene. Okay, so this part of the movie, she is exploring this house or something, and I loved how creepy it got. Like oh, she's just in the baby's room, and it's like oh, what a happy time or whatever. And then the courier just sees someone right behind her, and then it cuts to something else, and you don't see it again. I loved that because it was just like that was like a oh shit moment. It wasn't like oh da. It was like oh there's a person there. It's just like oh shit, and then you hear like the mobile. It's such a good movie. It was just eerie. It was just like oh crap. What's happening? What is going on? And then you see that it's like oh shit. And these people are probably infected, but then these are probably the only crazy people who actually have a reason. Like like well you killed the guy at the baseball game, and now we're gonna kill you. It's just ah had his hand right into the floor. That is I love that. That is so creepy. But yeah, like it just sucks. This I get mesmerized by this scene all the time when I see it. Oh, that's so good. Oh man, that is so cool. Like, he takes the knife in his hand and he just stabs her. Oh, it's so good. Oh, then you see, uh, this was a good. Like that's what I liked about this scene was that it was so creepy. And then it gets worse as it goes. I love it. I just love that. Uh, uh, God, this was a good movie. I think this is the part where the guy's deputy gets a little crazy, and they kind of hint that he's insane because like how many times he shoots them, and it's like so I think he's starting to feel a little off by the deputy, and I love that. I love that it was just the way they handled the deputy was like it was a gradual process into him going insane. Like it wasn't uh oh he's crazy now, woo, but it was just like yeah, I love it. I love how subtle everything is in this movie. Everything is pushed into the background and built and developed as it goes. It's not, a track where it's like, okay, well, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and now you know this is gonna happen. Oh, he's crazy. All that. It's just like because that scene was just, it was so well done. Oh, You know, we're using some lines, fixing them on the helmet to make it work a little bit better. Um, and you know, I think it worked out better in the end because like I think I was really satisfied with how the helmet looked, and now I'm just kind of going back in and giving it better lines. Because that's something I love line work in art. I think line work is really fun. Uh, because it gives you a nice sense of idea where how things feel, like and how an object reacts, or how much it should weigh, and that kind of stuff. I mean, the values of the grayscale and all that, and colors and all that would, I mean, does the same thing, but the outline kind of helps solidify it. I feel like that's why I do a lot of line work. That's why I love line work the most. That's why I never get rid of my line work in my work. Because the one thing I always liked about art is that it's kind of like in some movies. Like for example, I was watching a behind the scenes of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and and how he was talking about like the Rob the Robot episode where he's like I want to show you stuff and that you can do this as well. I mean, just like I using fishing line, and he likes using special effects that you can look at and say that I can do that. And that's what I like about line work is that you look at any line work and it kind of makes you feel that I can do that, and it kind of shows how people get the form and the objects, and I love that. It kind of shows the process of how things look. I love that. Oh, this is great. The car wash scene. The car wash scene was so weird to me. Like, it was just like I don't know what, because I think they stayed in the car wash because there was a helicopter that was chasing them, and Dave, I'm just trying to help. Oh, this is a good movie. Oh, then the car wash starts to work. Again, like this is a good place for the crazy. Like again, this movie is so good because it makes you really creepy. It's just like, oh man, what's gonna happen to these characters? And each one, in each scene you see, is like you expect them to die. Like here, it's just like and they can't get out. They can't get out. Oh, it's so good. Oh, they see a body in the bag. That is so. That's a nice touch. I didn't even. Like, I noticed that maybe like a little bit, but the more every time I see it, it's just like wow. There was a guy there, and ah. So yeah, here I'm just doing some cleanup on some lines because I was thinking if I'm probably gonna work more on the tones, so I decided. Oh, and I decided to work on the shoulder as well to make it look more good. And this movie, it just looks at everything is fucking moving. It's like oh shit, and I love it. Like, I never understand like how what's gonna happen, and then I keep thinking how to get out of this because it's like and you'd expect them all to die because they're stuck in one place. They're stuck in their cars and they can't really just get out and just run. And again, like I like that these things aren't like zombies where they're just kind of dumb. They have a sense of logic for themselves. I feel like I mean, these people like knew to use the car wash as cover. Like they knew that shit. Oh, and that's how that character dies. That is really good. And you all like that's what lovely. You also forget about the guy on the roof. Ah, I think the deputy kills Becca. or shoots her. I think again, like because again, like they're trying to subtly build the deputy's kind of insanity. Like they're just trying to drop little subtle hints at this guy's going insane. But I don't know. I don't remember very well. I don't think he does. Never mind. Oh, and the car explodes. That is so cool. Just like that was like an FU bomb from the helicopter. It's like, oh, you lost your friend. Okay, well, say goodbye to your car. It's oh man, it's messed up. Like, yeah, like this whole movie kind of removes hope from the equation. It's like, oh yeah, you have hope, but well, not anymore. I love that. I love that there's no hope in this. Now, originally, this commentary I was thinking of releasing in two parts, but I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna release it as one gigantic piece. Um, I don't think I don't think this commentary is gonna do too well in on YouTube, but I always wanted to do like a movie commentary, so I think this is a good first step. I mean, I wouldn't do it, I only do movie commentaries probably a few times, probably not as much as I do TV show commentaries because those are just such small little things like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. That's something that anything with it, like that I can do. I think people wouldn't mind watching it, but with a movie, it's like at 2 hours. And I would never do Wolf of Wall Street. That's a commentary no for me because that's 3 hours. I'm not that egotistical. Oh, that's so cool that I was like, okay, well, it's in that car, we're gonna take it. And again, another hint at Deputy's insanity right here, where instead of just taking the car, he's destroying it. And a lot of people can get angry about that, but I kind of like that. Again, like you felt something was off back at the house, so you kind of expected him to do something stupid because he was slowly getting insane, and that kind of shows him like he's so thirsty to kill him. But again, like it's subtle. It's not like okay, whatever. I like that. I like that he is subtly going insane. Oh, another hint as to what's going on. I love the reaction that the cop says. It's just like, we were gonna burn it, but we lost the plane. What do you want me to say? Like, oh, that's what I love. Is like as soon as this guy he gives you all these answers, that guy kills him. So again, like you start feeling off with the deputy. Like you're just like, uh, let's see what else I'm working on here. I think I'm still working on that soldier. Yep. and you see Deputy going a little bit off again. Oh, this part of the helmet I didn't like. I think I ultimately scrapped this these tones because I just started to think that it's a little out of hand. And I like that it kind of introduces this idea. It's like, well, would he really kill your friend? And especially like this crazy with the this virus, you don't really know how far it goes, or everyone has a different reaction to it. I guess I suppose. I mean, I think that's what this movie's trying to say is, uh, each one has their own kind of reaction to this virus, and it's hard to pin down if how crazy this person will get. And the deputy's already gone insane. But he's not killing them outright or anything like crazy. I mean, he's threatening them, but he's not committing to killing them. But at some point, I think he does wise up. And he doesn't kill him. But here's a revelation that the guy has where he's like, you know what? I love it. I mean, it has it's such a good movie. This is really one of the best. But yeah, like these characters are smart characters. They're not like, oh, we're dumb, derp derp. So that's something like a lot of zombie movies bank on the fact that people, the survivors are dumb. But here it's like these characters are actually likable and they're smart. They don't make dumb decisions, and it's stuff that you would do in a situation like this. And it's good. It's a good show. It's a good movie. Uh, while we're on this helmet, but yeah, like this helmet, I think I'm reworking some of the tones and rethinking how it works, and I think I put too much, and I think some of the tones are kind of weird because I think I was still working on CMYK document for a while, and I think I changed it to RGB later on. Yeah. I love the deputy sacrifices himself for those two. It's like, uh, it's such a good movie. Like everything's so subtle and underplayed, and it's not like he's making a sacrifice. And it's just like no he's sacrificing himself for his friend, and it's nice. I mean some movies do it like a good majority of them nail it, and this is one of them that nails it. Well, there's so many places like The Last of Us, for example. They kind of milked the whole relationship with Ellie and Joel, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But it's just I've seen it before, but this was such you know seeing this guy just sacrifice himself is really really depressing. It's it's sad because you kind of like this character despite him going crazy. But guys, it was almost hard to watch this guy just sacrifice himself for something just so his friends could get out, and he's always doing this, doing what they're telling him. They kill him anyway, so it's like, oh no, kill him. But yeah, it's such a sad scene. Like they kind of made the government the bad guy in this, but they kind of made it. Oh man, it was so good. Like because like, you do feel you sympathize with these survivors, and you feel so pissed off at the government in this movie. You're just like, oh fuck you, and all that. It's just like I can't believe you did that. On well, since we're nearing the end, this is another great scene. I love in the beginning, kind of gives you a story, and then this does kind of it's almost like two movies almost. I feel like. Yeah. And this is another scene which I love the silence of it, like where I think there might be some like I think in this part of the movie, especially this part, they hide a lot of the crazy people. They don't put them in the forefront. I mean, they're more hidden than they were in the house with the crib, where it's just like you don't know where they are, but you know that there's these crazy people in that truck stop. But it's just they hide them so well. So it's like again, this movie makes it organic and how they get you to jump. It's not like oh it's quiet, oh it's right there, and it's nice. It's a nice touch. It makes the entire scenery believable because I would imagine it, environments being this kind of quiet and creepy and deserted, especially deserted. Maybe like, they kind of make you think that he is going through the truck stop to make sure that there's no one there, and then it ends with him missing. Uh, Not looking hard enough. Another good scene where you see all these bullets as to showing that there was a big fight, big gunfight going on here, and they kind of like the scene where they show what they're looking at. I mean, it's so nicely done. Just seeing all those like corpses being piled up is just it makes you surprised as what happened. And yeah, like see the another part is like she's saying that stop pretending everything's gonna be okay because again this movie is trying to remove all kind of hope that these characters could have. I mean, it's just they know immediately that they are so far up. They're so out of it that they can't really say that everything's gonna be okay and all that because society's already broken and that's what I like about the movie is that it has a good theme going for it and not a lot of movies have themes as much. I mean, there's movies out there that have themes for sure, but not movies like this. Or the only theme that they go for is survival, and it's like they you could do so much more with that. here they give you this false sense of safety. It's like, oh, these people are just going to get moving because everything is it's shown in kind of like a montage like style. Not really a montage, but um, they're showing the sheriff getting ready, his wife just waiting for him, and all that. It's so great, and I love that this has subtle touches to these crazes I hear, and they don't even play like unsettling music where like don't or anything like that. But it's just you start seeing these inconsistencies. Like in one scene, there's no one there. Then again like the next scene there's a crazy like right behind her and she doesn't even see it. And yeah, and the music gets kind of creepy, but it's not like don't unsettling music. And I love that. I love how hidden they are. Now, this is that question because like she's walking towards where the that crazy guy is looking at her, and then she doesn't see it. Another great touch is like you still see that crazy guy there. And then as soon as the camera like loses sight of him, and he goes back to where he was, he's gone. And again, like that's a nice touch, where it's like you definitely feel unsettled by what you're seeing, and you're seeing more dead bodies, and power goes out, so you definitely know that there's something creepy, and now there's a guy outside. I mean, there's so many creepy elements in this one scene. And and that's what I like. I love these small touches that not a lot of movies do or anything. It's just so it's such a quiet movie, and I love that because it lets you be immersed in this. Like when I saw this in theaters, which is really the way to watch this movie, is you definitely forget the that you're watching a movie. Like it got so immersed that I forgot that I was in a theater. I was like, oh, I'm in a theater. I forgot. It gets so disturbing. Like so many weird things start to happen. Like there's two, crazy people after her. She was in the kitchen. I think there's another one in there. And the darkness is so well done. Like they have just the lighting is so well done. It's believable lighting. It's not too saturated. It's not too bright. It's just right. It leaves so much to uh, imagination. Then she goes into a place where there's all these bodies. And again, like, and they even use like old tricks to have these kind of scares, like hiding in a place, and they can easily find her, but they have to. It's kind of easy things that they use, but it works so well. Like I mean, these old tricks. I mean, you think it's like, oh, it's you're definitely gonna tell, but they work in this movie. The helmet it's getting a little bit better. I think the top needs to be a little more narrow. I'm not sure if I fixed that or not, but I think it's a little too flat. And I like that the crazies don't make overly noises like in some shows it's always like and they always growl and stuff. And here it's just they're just quiet, things. They're just like it's just they don't announce their presence. That's another thing I like, that they're just as stealthy as normal people would be. And here I started working a little bit more on the chest of this character, and oh, not yet I guess, but I started doing some more shading on the chest because I realized it's not really complete. And again, like mixing with like a very simple tone scheme in this because you don't really need to go into too much detail sometimes. It depends on the style, but usually I think this can hold. There's another good scene they how they get out and you also feel the tension of trying to get the right key. It's such a good movie. Like this movie sets you in so well because you feel the urgency that these characters are feeling and the frustration. Oh, that is so. Like, as soon as he grabs the keys, oh, that was cool. It's that dragging motion. I know that these guys aren't like super strong or super weak either, but it's just, oh man. And I'm probably not saying a lot in this movie, or I'm repeating myself. But that's just because this movie is so entrancing. The gun I that the soldier's using, I got a reference from a action figure I got not too long ago, like maybe last year. It was a Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker action figure, and it comes with a small like M16 rifle or whatever rifle it is in the game, and I use that for a lot of references for assault rifles because I like assault rifles and I like the M4 design. I think it's a lot better, but I also try to use my own kind of design as well. I mean, for now, I'm just using this as reference so I can kind of get an idea as to how a gun would look and all that. And then I'd probably go back in now and start playing around with my own designs of guns. And we get close to the end, and that's another thing I like about the ending is that it just ends. It doesn't really have a definitive ending type deal. You'll see more once you get there. But this is another thing I like about the movie is that it has a nice ending to it. It has it's just it's a good movie. It's overall a good movie. Because like, I kind of like the Resident Evil as well, where they bombed a city or something to kind of they bombed Raccoon City to maintain the outbreak, and here is kind of the same kind of idea that they're bombing a city so they get rid of the outbreak. But the question is, did they get it though? I mean, they could have been other survivors. They could have been other people who are infected and spreading around, and these characters might think that they're safe, but they're not. Oh, the countdown. Oh, this is also a good scene because like, when they have the explosion, it's like it turns daytime for like 1 second. Yeah, mushroom cloud, and everything is like daytime has daytime lighting. Then you're like, wait a second, it's nighttime. But that would beg the question: wouldn't their eyes be fucked up though? Because it's bright light, then it's gonna go back to dark. I mean, that's bad for the eyes. I mean, people become blind if you look at the lunar eclipse because your eyes dilate and then it's fucked up. But Well, I guess they were shielding their eyes. I guess, or I guess I don't know. I guess they're not, looking directly at it. I guess. Like I love the ending. I love that they just made it out of the of the explosion zone, but that didn't really mean much. Yeah, I really like this movie. I've loved everything about it. I Since we're getting up to the end, I'm gonna say I don't know what I'm gonna do with my next commentary. I know it's been a while since I uploaded this one, um, because since it was a movie, I kinda had to take a longer break because I didn't want because I'll be sitting here for like 2 hours doing this, so I had to wait, for the perfect time. Usually, a TV show I can, watch it back to back without much of an issue, but this is the only time where it's like I couldn't get it done fast enough. But but that's better than me trying to shoehorn 2 hours in and being virtually exhausted uh, on this movie. But it was great. I liked watching it again, and I get to watch the movie and watch myself work on a soldier design. It's a nice little two-way watching. If you are an artist, if you create your own stuff, I do recommend doing this kind of stuff because it's interesting because when you watching you work, you kind of see some mistakes you might have missed, how you work, and all that. Because when you're working, on yourself, and not looking at yourself, working to work on the artwork itself, you don't see the how you work. You don't really see the scale very well. But if you watch yourself work, you get a better understanding of what you might be missing, and you learn a lot better as well. And watching movies and all that kind of stuff also helps as well because you get a better understanding of everything. And I do recommend also working out because that does give you a nice idea of how you know your body works. Like as you're lifting weights, you know the limits of where the range of motion and all that the human body has, and you get a better understanding of how the human body works. So these are some tips that I'm giving you to work with because I started working out and I started noticing a lot of things about the body, and when I do full body now I can have an easier time thinking about that. Alright, the ending, I love that it ends on such a triumphant note, like yeah, these guys made it. Then it goes into the government satellite view of the NASA, and it initiates another contaminant protocol, so it kind of makes you more on the edge. Like you definitely think that but yeah, I like how the ending was so like triumphant, and it goes to that. But I think I was talking about like I don't remember what I was talking about. I had to take a little break again. Sorry, most disjointed commentary. I know, but yeah, I like how sad this movie was. Like it was a very quiet movie. Um, and I like the happy music. Oh, right after that depressing thing where it said everything is contaminated. Uh, you know, unleash that protocol again. But yeah, I think I was also giving out little pointers. If you work out, you do body training and all that kind of stuff, you get a better idea as to how the body works and where the muscles are. I love, I love the news bit at the end. It's so well done. It kind of shows how covered the incident is and how the news is altered, and then it kind of shows how the signal got lost. I mean, it's very eerie. I love how eerie this movie gets at times. And I like this, bring me sunshine. It's such a good movie. So yeah, I use this commentary kind of to show that Liquid Rock is still alive. I'm still working on it. Unlike my other comic book series I canceled, I am still doing Liquid Rock. I really do think it's good. good series I'm working on. I just saw some storyboards I've done for the next few issues, and I had to throw them all out because they suck. I'm definitely gonna rework it and make it a lot better. Before it was like stupid. And I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next commentary or video later.